This is Texans TV.
We go one-on-one with General Manager Nick Caserio as well as running back Mark Ingram.
And we're just going to try to do what we feel is best for the organization and put our team in the best position possible.
That's all next on Texans 360.
We are ready to rock in Houston. Rock and roll. Oh, let's go!
Guess when you think you've seen it all, there's always something else.
Well, it's great to see you. We hope you're having a fantastic Easter weekend. My name is Drew Dougherty. This is Sean Pendergast of Sports Radio 610. You can hear him in the mornings. You can also hear him on the Texans pregame and postgame shows when the Texans are playing football. It's great to have you with us. This is Texans 360, by the way. How you been, man?
I'm doing great. It's free agency is still going on, and the draft is almost here, so football's year-round, man.
Yeah, we got a lot to discuss because later in the show, we're going to have a one-on-one with running back Mark Ingram. We're also going to talk about the draft, like he mentioned. We also get to go one-on-one with the general manager of the Houston Texans, Nick Caserio. But we start off, like we always do, with some news of the week. There's going to be a 17th game in the NFL for every team next year. For the Texans, it will be a home game. It will be against the Carolina Panthers. More football is something that I think you and me, we applaud. I don't know if the players think that way, and we've heard some things from some of the players, but on the whole, 17 games, what do you think?
Yeah, well, of course, more football. I'm always about more football. I was a little more hopeful that the league would do something a little more exotic with the 17th game as opposed to the formulaic thing that they're doing where they're just sort of lining it up with your NFC crossover from a couple of years ago. So we get Carolina coming here now. It's a home game, so that'll be fun in 2021. I was hoping for the league to maybe go with more of a rivalry game type of thing for teams that have a rival. But the biggest thing for me is these odd numbers are going to mess with me now. You know, the odd, like I was always told it was an 8-8 league.
It's not an 8-8
now is it an 8-9 league or a 9-8 league? I don't know now. Yeah.
The 9-7 ceiling has been shattered. With all that, there's going to be more international games too, and they're branching out from the London and Mexico City games. You'll see some games in Germany. Eventually, you might see Brazil, and I think way down the line, when they figure things out, you'll see Australia and Asia as well. What do you think of more international stuff? Because it's coming again in the next 8 years for certain for the Houston Texans.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And football's been kind of playing catch up along those lines, as opposed to, baseball's always been kind of a global sport, and basketball is probably the gold standard when it comes to globalizing. And in some ways, the NFL, even though it's got the biggest pie, it also probably has the biggest upside to still grow the sport too. So it's a really good time to be involved with the NFL.
And on a selfish basis, I will never complain about getting sent to be a tourist on the company dime.
Oh,
so
never.
I'm not.
Never.
I'm not sad about having to go to London or Germany again. Let's do it. All right. Let's also hear from Nick Caserio. He's the GM. He recently had a chance to talk with the guys here on Texans Radio, and this is part of that conversation.
Joining us right now on Texans Radio, it's Texans General Manager Nick Caserio. Nick, I know you've been on vacation for weeks, nothing going on at all. You've signed a lot of guys, so how has that been for you? Hard at work? I mean, have you come up for air yet?
Yeah, it's been great. It's, one day at a time. We've had a lot of activity. We've done a lot of things, but all with the intent to try to improve the team as much as possible. There's no one way to do that. It's going to take a series of transactions over the course of, I would say, weeks, months, and then even during the season. And we're just going to try to do what we feel is best for the organization and put our team in the best position possible.
Nick, before the quote-unquote legal tampering period even began, you made two trades. A guy that you know very well, having been in the building, and then a guy that you faced, whether it was with Buffalo or Miami, and Shaq Lawson. What do Marcus Cannon and Shaq Lawson mean to you and this football club?
Yeah, both players have a lot of experience, have been in successful programs in their respective side of the ball as well. So, our whole thing is just try to bring, good people and good football players into the building, right? And those two players specifically, I would say in Marcus's case, he has a lot of experience. He's played a lot of football. I would say he's dealt with a lot of adversity throughout the course of his life, even going back to when he came out in the draft, right? Which I'm sure you guys covered him coming out of TCU. So what he's been through and what he's dealt with and how he's handled it really speaks volumes about who he is as a man, not so much about him as a football player. Made a decision last year to stay away from football for personal reasons and personal choice. But I know Marcus is a very prideful individual, cares a lot about football, and he's played a lot of good football. So again, nobody's guaranteed anything. Everybody has to earn their role, and everybody's going to get the same opportunity. Shaq's situation, started his career in Buffalo, played a lot of good football for them, ended up there down in Miami last year, did a lot of good things for their team as well. So with those two players specifically, we just looked at our team and situation and thought there was an opportunity for us to try to improve. What that actually means and how that manifests itself, nobody really knows, right? We're not going to know that until they actually are on the field. So we just try to make a decision that we thought made sense for our team. So that's why we went ahead with the transactions that we did.
Nick, you also added 2 quarterbacks to the roster, Tyrod Taylor and Ryan Finley. So what do these guys bring to the table, bring to the organization?
Yeah, both players are a little bit different, right? Tyrod has a lot of experience. He's played for a number of different coaches, been in a lot of different systems. He's very experienced, has a little bit of a background with some of the coaches on our staff, right? So offense not necessarily might be something different that he's played in, but I would say some of the attributes are similar. And Ryan's case, that was a player a couple of years ago came out, I would say, whether it was the staff here in Houston or while we were in New England as well, had some good qualities, some good traits. So again, it doesn't necessarily guarantee or mean anything. It just means that we brought those players here. We brought those players here for a reason, give them the opportunity to compete and see if they can carve out a role for themselves, whatever that is. Ultimately, the player's performance is going to dictate who does what, right? It's not what I think or what a coach might think. Ultimately, their performance will bear what the role is going to be.
All right, Nick. Well, thanks so much for the time and best of luck in the next few weeks before the draft.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, John.
So Caserio in charge, and goodness gracious, do you think his cell phone or his computer keyboard just has smoke going off of it the last month or so? The volume of players that have been added to this roster via trade, via free agency, it's pretty immense.
It's wild. We've never seen anything like it. Yeah, carpal tunnel syndrome. He's going to have big Coke bottle glasses from having to look at a computer screen pretty soon. He's been a really busy guy. I love the approach. I said this before free agency started. I said, boy, if you're the Texans, there's a lot of cleanup to do with the salary cap and with the roster and things like that. And given the fact that the Texans are dealing with some of the things every team is dealing with the cap coming down, I really feel like for a team like the Texans, 2022 is sort of the year that you're looking at getting back to being normal again.
Who has stood out offensively as a name that made you say, I like that. I really think that can work out?
Yeah, I like, obviously, Tyrod Taylor, as far as a veteran quarterback that I think can win football games for you under center. I think the offense is set up to make a much quicker transition to a new coaching staff than the defense is. The defense, there's still some work to do. And along those lines, I love what they've done in the offensive backfield. Adding Mark Ingram to the mix, a veteran who's going to be a good leader in the locker room for the young guys. And Phillip Lindsay, if you said Phillip Lindsay 2 years ago that he's going to be a Houston Texan on a 1-year, $3 million deal. Yeah, so he dealt with his injuries. Hopefully he's healthy. So I love what they've done in the offensive backfield as well. Those are a couple things that stand out to me.
No doubt. And you bring up some of the coaches. There's some new faces there on each side of the ball. But defensively, same question as before. Who stood out to you? What player has you most excited about what he might do here in Houston?
Yeah, I would say just in general, some of the athleticism that they brought in over there. And they found some more guys that kind of fit what Lovie Smith likes to do. Pierre Louis, the linebacker, I think is a guy that you look at some of the specific things he's able to do in coverage. Those are things that the linebacking crew that they've had has struggled with. And Shaq Lawson, obviously, in the trade coming over for Benardrick McKinney, I think is somebody who, when J.J. Watt left, you had to find some guys who are going to be able to rush the passer. Shaq Lawson's a guy who's shown that he's been able to do that. And Desmond King in the secondary as well. These are all guys on very reasonable type deals. That's why I like the value metric that Nick Caserio has in place on guys. I've been really, really impressed with his ability to stockpile this roster with guys that have certain traits. And if you hit, if there's 25 of these guys, if you hit on 5 or 6 of them and they become long-term Texans, then it's been a really successful offseason.
We don't have much time, about a minute, but I haven't talked to you since the season ended. Mm-hmm. What do you think about the coaching changeover? And I talked about this with John Harris on a podcast. What might coaching alone, the difference there, mean to this squad?
Yeah, I think, look, bringing Tim Kelly back is going to give you some continuity on the offensive side of the ball. And like I said, I think that's the side that's set up for some success. And I love Pep Hamilton coming in as the quarterback's coach as well. On the defensive side, Lovie Smith, really experienced guy. I think the most intriguing thing is Coach Culley as the head coach. First-time head coach who's coming in, having been a position coach for most of his career, but he's got a great energy about him. Everybody seems to love the guy. All the new free agents that have been brought in that we've interviewed on the radio, and I know you guys have talked to in the building here, all really seem to like the guy. So it's his ability to unify, I think, is going to be a big deal for this team in 2021.
He's got an infectious personality, and it's infectious in the good way. I probably shouldn't even say that with the times we're living. But hey, let's go to break on that matter and on that note. And when we return, we're going to hear from the new running back, or one of the new running backs, Mark Ingram. This is Texans 360.
He's added a player at every single position.
Leaders, guys who have been around the block.
Nick Caserio pulling all the levers and he's pushing all the right buttons.
Seemingly every hour I looked up, man, they've signed another guy. They've signed another guy. Wow, they've signed another guy.
We're back. It's Texans 360. We're coming at you from the Ford Studios. Drew Dougherty, Sean Pendergast, and we talked in the earlier segment about the addition of Mark Ingram for just a little bit, but we're going to go a little deeper now because we got a one-on-one with him in just a moment.
Nice.
But Mark Ingram is somebody who has done some things in the NFL. The Texans, it seemed like he's averaged about 38 yards a carry the last two times they played the Ravens.
Yeah.
How'd you react when you saw that Ingram was coming here?
I was excited about it. You know, this guy's a veteran leader. He's been productive in the league, and I think it was also a really nice soft endorsement of David Culley as the head coach, right? I mean, they were together in Baltimore with each other. So I think as you get free agents that are looking at the Texans, they don't know David Culley as a head coach, but you see some guys coming here who have played for him before. I think Tyrod Taylor, same thing, was a position coach for him. That's the first thing I thought of, really, was their time together with the Ravens and what a big stamp of approval that is for a guy like Mark Ingram to be coming here.
It sure is. And John Harris and I had a chance to go one-on-one or two-on-one, really, with Ingram earlier in the week. Here, again, is part of that convo. Well, we're excited that running back Mark Ingram is with us now. Mark, welcome to Houston. Welcome to the Texans. We're excited that you're here. Let's get things going. Money aside, why did you choose to come here?
Man, it was just a great opportunity for me to be able to come and, prove myself once again. The Texans, they called and they were interested in me and they flew me in for a visit. And obviously, Coach Culley, I was with him in the past 2 years in Baltimore.
How would you describe your play and what you bring to an offense?
A lot of passion, high effort, and I'm just trying to compete and win every play. I'm trying to be successful on that play, whatever it needs, whether I have to, get 1 yard for a first down, whether I catch the pass and break a tackle to make a big play, whether I have to step up in the A-gap and pick up a linebacker, gives whatever it takes to be a winner and to help my teammates win and to be the best player I could be, the best person I could be, to prepare myself to play at the highest level week in and week out. And although the year didn't go as I wanted it to, it was a blessing in disguise to this point because my body feels healthy. I feel great. And I feel like my best football is still ahead of me and going into my 11th year.
Mark, you're like a football Flavor Flav. Like, you're the biggest hype man I think I've ever seen. Like, when NFL Films finds you on the sideline, you were pumping up your teammates. You have love for your teammates. You've been in the league for a while. You've seen a lot. How important is it for you to share those experiences with younger players?
You got to pass game down. I've had guys when I was young do that for me, from Drew Brees to Darren Sproles, so many good veterans that I had to come in and learn from when I was a young rookie. So just be able to pass down successes, pass down failures, pass down getting knocked down and getting back up, and just be able to pass down, just how to stay level-headed, control what you can control, prepare yourself to be the best player you could be, prepare yourself for every opportunity. You never know when your opportunity is going to arise. You just have to share those experiences to encourage young guys That's just how you pass game down. That's how you develop a camaraderie within your team. That's how you develop a love and a bond within your team that's unmatched. And when you have that bond within your locker room, it flows into the playing field. You got to hold each other accountable. You never want to let your guy down next to you.
Hey, Mark, a few moments ago, you mentioned David Culley. He's the head coach now. You played for him the last 2 years in Baltimore. And you're like many who have talked about him. He's a magnetic guy. He's a nice guy. He's a lovable guy. There's a lot of substance to him. There's a lot of football knowledge to him. Can you kind of talk about that aspect of David Culley? Because we've all heard the wonderful things about his personality. We've seen it up close, but there's a lot more to him, isn't there?
He's a great guy, and he's a great coach, man. He knows techniques. He knows defenses. He knows offenses. He knows the small nuances within battle and within the fight on the field. You know, he tries to give you the tools necessary for you to have success in those moments. He'll do everything he can to prepare you for success and put you in a position to have success. And I've seen him do that for the past 2 years. So I'm excited to play for him in Houston, and I know all the rest of the guys will be too.
How's that going to evolve for you, having fun after you guys score, after good things happen for you?
You got to have fun, man. We work our butts off, man. And that energy is contagious, and that energy is infectious, and it flows over to the defense. It flows over to the special teams. It flows over to the offense. It flows over to the fans. It flows over within the organization. And so everybody feeds off each other. And that's when you have a good team. That's when you have a good culture. That's when you have a good environment. That's, healthy for everyone.
All right. We're looking forward to seeing you on the field. Thanks so much for the time. Best of luck as this season unfolds, okay?
Thank you.
When we return, how might the Texans approach the draft later this month? It's all next on Texans 360. Texans 360 continues. Drew, Sean, let's talk about the draft. It's less than a month away now, thank goodness. I love the draft.
Me too.
Now, it's tougher to prognosticate, to predict, whatever P word you want to use about the Texans at 67.
Yeah.
Third round. There's a bigger swath to choose from. In a perfect world, what do you think the Texans do, or what would you like to see them do, position-wise, player-wise, however you want to call it?
Yeah, well, let's keep in mind, they were in a similar situation back in 2018. They came away with Justin Reed. They're picking 68th overall this year. They're picking 67th. There are players to be had in the early part of the third round if you do your evaluation correct. That pick of Justin Reed, I know different general manager, obviously, but the mentality was best available. I don't know that safety was a position in need, but he was a guy who slid. They took him, and I think they're happy with what he's done as a Houston Texan. I think I'd look at it similarly with this. Look, let's face it, like you said, 4-12. This team has plenty of needs right now.
Yeah.
So I think if there's guys that you've got 20 or 30 picks higher on your board that are there at 67, man, go for it right there.
Yeah.
That's how I'd look at it.
There really is no position, probably other than punter or kicker, that you can't go wrong with choosing a player. And we've heard from John Harris, we've heard from another expert or two like Wade Smith.
Yeah.
They've talked about some guys on the offensive line that have caught their eye and gotten them excited. Is there a position group that's a little stacked more than others in your mind in the college ranks that's coming out?
Yeah, well, I think nowadays, you look at skill positions, wide receiver, with all these spread offenses now, there's so many guys. And I think on the other side, you see a lot of defensive backs because, the teams aren't playing, in college, they're not playing standard 4-3, and they're not bringing on the offensive side I formation with two wide receivers and a tight end. So I think that on both sides of the ball, you're probably seeing more and more guys equipped on the outside, both offensively and defensively. And I think if you're looking at the Texans, if I had to pick one of those, I'd say, well, go load up on some defensive backs. You know what I mean? I know they've got a lot of bodies in the defensive backfield, but not a ton of youth there. So I would look there because those are guys who can contribute for you on special teams as well. So those are probably the areas that I would look at if I were Nick Caserio.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to watch. He's a first-time GM, so he's got 8 draft picks total. No first, no second, but 8 total to work with on that final part of the draft. Okay, stick with us because when we come back, we're celebrating Women's History Month in a Texans sort of way. Don't go anywhere. We're back. It's Texans 360, Drew Dougherty, Sean Pendergast. It's been awesome because all month long we've been celebrating Women's History Month. I've loved it. How about you?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been awesome. I think you know this. I have a daughter, college-age daughter, who's a huge Texan fan. Judy's my daughter, and she's a big follower of the Texans on Twitter. And every time you guys put stuff up about Women's Month, she always sends it to me, and she says, "Gotta love this. Gotta love this, Dad."
Thank you, Judy, for keeping him in the loop. We love that. And we also love the ladies who get the Texans to and fro, and to when they go on road trips. This is someone who's been very, very integral and very important in making all that happen.
Can you hear me?
Yes, how you doing?
Hi, Mark, how are you?
I'm doing great. I bet you're surprised to see me, huh?
I'm pleasantly surprised.
It's so great to have you here, crew chief of Texans charter flights. And guess what, Sarah? You thought you were dropping into a regular meeting, but you're not. Let's bring aboard a special guest and tell you what this is all about. Who's our special guest?
Who is it?
It is none other than Jack Easterby, Executive Vice President of Football Operations.
Hey,
Jack!
Hey, Jack, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm good. I have to say, I've kind of missed you guys.
Well, we've missed you too. We wanted to surprise you. We thought we could maybe trick you and think this might be an operations meeting for you to think about this year's flights, but we wanted to surprise you. So you probably are aware that today is International Women's Day. And just in the effort of appreciating women who have impacted the Texans and impacted our entire operation, we just wanted to spend a second praising you and thanking you for what you've done for our operation. You know, this year was such a unique year, and with COVID and you guys changing how we travel, changing our onboarding process. I always laugh. It's the fastest 10 minutes in professional sports when we get on the plane. And
you guys just mean so much. Thank you.
So we want to bring you and 3 of your friends, if you want to bring your son or you want to bring any of your friends to a Texans game next year. And we're going to pay for you guys. If it means travel, that's fine. But we're going to bring 4 of you guys to a game. And we're also going to get you a Texans pendant, just to say thank you for what you've done for us and your attitude and your effort and just how you carry yourself on the plane. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You guys make it so easy, and it's such an honor to do it. So thank you so much.
Sarah Decker, crew chief of the Texans charter flights on United. Thanks so much and congratulations.
Thank you guys so much. It was so nice to see you too, both of you. Thank you.
All right, that's going to do it for this week's show. Sean, always good having you in. It's been too long.
It has.
That's on me. That's a me problem. So we're going to rectify that. We'll have you back again really, really soon.
This is cool. Yeah, no desk either.
No desk.
You
We stand
get to
so we
show
can
off the
sway
physique.
and move. Yeah, I know. And hey, this show would not be possible without you watching. We really appreciate you. We know you have many choices, and we're happy that you chose us. So please do it again next week, same time, same place. Thanks also to Tyler Marcotte, Nicholas Patterson, and Mitchell Moreland for putting this thing together. Till then, so long, and go Texans. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.